Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 25 series with the Oakland A's, and we have some business to discuss here at the end of April and the start of May. So I guess just briefly record-wise, 14-17, which is a fair start, for us. Obviously, kind of the beginning of the season, I talked about achieving a record with higher than 70 wins would probably be the most ideal case for the season, and we're on pace for that, at least at the start of the season. So quickly, just quick view of the offense. Performance isn't really the main thing that I have on the agenda for this episode, but some good early returns from some of the young players that we would like to see perform well. So you can see kind of the offensive trio leading the way for us right now: Denzel, Clark, Esteury Ruiz, and Darrow Hernandez. And yeah, very very good to see. Bit of a high BABIP here for Clark, but seems like these could be some sustainable performances for these guys based on their walk rate, strikeout rate. Probably higher BABIPs for Ruiz and Clark, but Hernandez, that is looking pretty decent for him. Of course, Clark, he got a brief taste of the majors last year. He's playing center field for us. He's not been good in center field. I might make the Ruiz and Clark switch, just put him back there. Of course, whoever's in right is going to be a plus right fielder with their profile, and whoever's in center is probably going to struggle a little bit. But I think Ruiz was a bit better last year in center. But yeah, good performance for these guys to start. Very encouraging, especially Ruiz. I'm not really sure how much he's going to hit. I'm considering his his ratings and his brief kind of 2-season track record in the majors. But this is a good sign from him. At least if he can be a league average bat for us, he's going to be a productive player. At least a player who probably has a role on this team going forward. And pretty much other guys, Zach Galloff has been fine. Noda, we'd like to see more from him. Definitely more from him since he was our best offensive contributor last year. So a bit of a slow start from him. Seth Brown, not really sure kind of the performance he's going to turn in, but we expect better than an 85 WRC plus from him. We'd like to see better from Flores as well. So trio of guys who we'd like to get better offensive performance from. We're not getting it from those guys, but again, our record is where we would want to be. The most disappointing part of this team is our catching tandem, Langeliers and Banfield. Of course, I discussed that Banfield was a Rule 5 pick, discussed how it was probably going to be a timeshare. The AI wanted to start Banfield. I let it run out. He's been very bad at the plate. I mean, absolutely horrendous in 82 plate appearances. But Langeliers, he's hasn't had much time, but he's been pretty much equally as bad. I mean, the difference between a 10 WRC plus and negative 16, I mean, it's just awful either way. So very disappointed to see that. Extremely disappointed to be seeing that out of these guys. So I've forced Langeliers in the starting role, so we're at least going to get like a long stretch of him starting and see if he can put in a better performance than Banfield. I'm probably going to make a move. Catching wise, of course, if this continues. And I also have a move that I think I'm going to make later in the episode that also deals with kind of our catching outlook. The other outlook is Nick Ahmed has been absolutely terrible at the plate as well. Of course, we signed him to be our kind of everyday shortstop because of his defense. I mean, with the hitting ratings, he should definitely be a better bat than this. So, it's kind of a situation where we're going to let it ride out. And, since we're not trying to compete or anything, let it ride out. If he's just a negative on offense the entire time, go with someone else at short. Quickly going over the pitching, you'll see someone is missing, which is the main thing that I want to go over, and that's some of the injuries. Unfortunately, Mason Miller, our guy, is injured after 3 starts, 3 very good starts, as you can see. But, 3 starts nonetheless. He's out with elbow inflammation. He went down pretty much right as the season began. And you can see April 9th was the day of the injury. I kind of went a little forward after the injury. So, yeah, he's on the 60-day IL. He's going to miss a huge chunk of the season. I'm very unfortunate. Of course, Waldachuk, we knew he was already injured, and he was going to miss the year. Rafael Antigua, very limited time, kind of as our right-handed bench bat, playing corner outfield, maybe a little infield. He was pretty good in a very limited plate appearances. He's on the IL right now, and that's why you saw Reese Hines here with no statistics. He's kind of kind of be fitting that same role, playing some corner outfield, maybe also some third and first as well. He had his power going. See, 554 slugging in AAA there, so he was the one who got the call to be the right-handed bat. Again, back to pitching wise, some pretty encouraging performances there. Our pitching has been pretty good. Lots of FIPS in the threes here. If anyone's struggling, it's JP Sears, who of course was bad last year. He's not been that bad, and Luis Medina hasn't been great as well. Of course, kind of these guys at the bottom, just kind of filler. Matthew Boyd, of course, our free agent acquisition. A lot better ERA than FIP. Of course, he's not the highest of strikeout guys. So that FIP is never going to be too low. ERA plus, above average. And then kind of, a lot of our bullpen guys I think have been doing pretty fine. Scott Efros, good again for us. Miss Spence, he's doing his job as I think an underrated, ratings wise rotation guy that's a fine mid to late rotation guy. Brady Singer, of course, kind of our biggest free agent acquisition. He's been very good for us. I'm hoping that we could we can get a haul for him at the deadline. That would be good. Cody Funderburk, waiver claim that we made last year, who didn't see much major league time. He's been very good with us. I like his ratings a lot as kind of a lefty reliever for us. And then our other lefty kind of waiver claims that we made last year in Zapucki and Cosgrove. I don't see Cosgrove. Yep, there he is. They've all been very good. So us on the waiver wire with kind of lefty relievers has been pretty crazy. We've been getting good performances out of those guys. Colin Muller, he's been the closer role for us. Something that not too sustainable. Not a lot of these guys have a lot of innings, only 13 innings, but low ERA for him, but way too many walks for him. Cantorino, he's the one who he's been in the rotation most of the or all the time, I should say. Of course, I think he profiles more of a reliever, but he's gonna get the chance to start for now. One move that I did make was Joe Boyle. He's down in AAA right now. If I can find AAA. He was just walking way too many guys at the major league level. If I can find him, and he's right in front of me. As you can see, he in 16 innings he struck out 16 guys and walked 14. Can't be doing that and having major league success. So of course, his MO is the stuff guy who has no idea where it's going. Last year he was a bit better. This year, not what you want walks wise. From Joe Boyle. And our next order of business in this video is actually a trade, something that I've talked about wanting to do kind of in the last video, and I think a bit over the offseason as well. And that's basically trying to consolidate some of our mid-tier prospects that are older, and especially at the catching position, so we can kind of bring some different types of prospects or younger prospects they could potentially develop, get some positive TCR on their side and possibly develop into something over their shown rating. So we're going to be moving Daniel Susac. Of course, we have him, we have Daniel Vijolan, and also Jesus Rodriguez as kind of 23 to 25-ish year old catchers. I think Rodriguez might even be 22. We've basically got a few of these guys, and of course we've got Langoliers with team control, major league level Banfield with team control. Our Real 5 pick, who honestly might not make it through the season with his performance. But I wanted to consolidate these guys. So basically, I've been shopping these guys around all the entire season basically so far, and shopping all of them, shopping Langoliers, shopping Banfield as well, the major league guys. And I wasn't really getting too many bites on these guys, which is understandable. Their overall ratings aren't necessarily the highest in this game, and the best value that I could find was honestly for Susac, and he's honestly the catcher who I might like the least out of the trio of him, Vijolan and Rodriguez, just because his bat is the least interesting. To me, they have higher contact, higher eye profiles that I think are more useful in this game. Susac might be the best defensive catcher of the bunch, but if he's just barely ahead of them. And you can see just a quick look at their profiles. Here's Rodriguez, of course, the high contact, avoid Ks kind of bat, the good offensive profile. And part of the effect of this is that Like, these guys shouldn't be like in the lower levels. Like Rodriguez, because of all the catching we've have, to get him to play, he's been in high A, and he performed well in Double A last year. So I don't want him going backwards, but just kind of had to do that, with playing time breakdown. So, the kind of like result of moving on from these guys is these guys playing at more levels that they should. Like Viholan, he's a Double A, and he's been awesome for us. Again, that the kind of higher I profile, and he's pretty much on par defensively with Suzak. So I decided to trade him. We're also throwing in Logan Davidson, which I had to throw in to make the trade work. 27-year-old minor league depth infielder who shouldn't be anything. So nothing really there. And we're going to be getting Nasim Nunez from the Marlins. In real life, he was actually, he's a Rule 5 pick with the Nationals. But in this game, he was sent back by the Nationals to the Marlins. So he's with them here. And we're getting a prospect whose profile we don't have. And that's a shortstop. We don't have any players in minor leagues right now, at least that are, prospects with potential major league outlook. That are defensively shortstop. He's got that 70 infield range, 60 air and 60 arm. So a bit more on the fringy side, as in like he's going to be just a decent to good major league shortstop, but not an elite one. Obviously, any type of lots of players with this type of profile, the bat's the concern. He actually has decent eye, which obviously helps his profile. As a guy with not much pop, he does have the ability to get on base. Of course, he's also fast. So, yeah, we're going to be making this move. He's in high A for them. We're definitely going to be playing him in Double A and possibly Triple A. Probably put him in Double A, see how he does. And Triple A, of course, this is kind of the thing. If Ahmed, of course, just can't hit, he's probably, Nunez is probably going to be our major league shortstop by the end of the year. So, yeah, we're going to make this move. And a move that I think is, should be beneficial for us. And at least, like I said, consolidating those kind of, or not consolidating since we're not trading multiple catching prospects, but getting rid of one of our young catchers to get, a comparable player at with a profile that more fits, our major league needs in the upcoming seasons. Still last in the division. What is turning out to be a very tough division. Every team in the division literally has a winning record, but us. So of course we're not that far into it, so there's not too much separation. Like if you look at the league, it's pretty even across the board. So I do want to take a look at our Pythag expected record, and we're right on. So look at that. Right on what we should be doing. So basically, when I said Day of Reckoning, now is basically the time where we're going to shake some things up here. We're getting kind of too much of an unacceptable performance. Some of the good performance we are getting, Denzel Clark, he's still mashing. Zach Geloff, he's hitting a little better. Hernandez and Ruiz, they're hanging around league average. Pretty good stuff there. Noda and Brown aren't hitting, and even worse is Flores. I didn't think Nick Allen would hit anyway. Ahmed's still been terrible. Langoliers, he's been awful. Pretty much as equally as awful as Banfield. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with the bad performance. We're going to be shaking some things up here. Banfield, we're going to be sending him back to the Marlins. We just can't have someone performing that poorly. I'm going to take off the forced start for Langoliers. Because I don't exactly know how much of a time try I want it to be with the guy we're going to call up. Pitching wise, we've run into a bit of injury trouble here. JT Brubaker, he's down for 1 to 2 weeks, so we are going to be eyeing him. And then Matt Cantorino as well, who's disappointing to see him go down since he's been pitching well in the starting role for us. So he's injured as well, so we're going to need to call up 2 pitchers. One being a starter and a catcher as well. So actually another quick move we're going to make is Reese Hines. We're sending him out to AAA, and we're bringing back Lantigua, who is on rehab assignment, who hasn't been very good there, but we want him back on the Major League roster. So with AAA, we're going to be bringing up some help here. So the guy we're going to be calling up catching wise, we're bringing back Carlos Perez to the Major League roster. He's been crushing AAA, so we're going to be sending him up here. and getting him on the big league roster. And then pitching wise, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do here. Zach Jackson, he's going to be the guy that we bring up first of all as the reliever replacement. And then as starter, I think it's going to be Brady Basso. Of course, he was decent for us last year. Started 33 games for us. Of course, he was the player who had an absolutely terrible spring training. So we decided to make him part of the roster, trimming down. So we're going to put him on the roster there. We're going to let the AI kind of refill out AAA there. Pitching-wise, we're going to update the staff. The manager, Basso slots in there. The rotation, and Zach Jackson goes to the bullpen. Lineup-wise, we're going to do the manager, and I'm going to force shakeups here because we're just not going to have 60 WRC plus. We're not going to be having 60 WRC plus Wilmer Flores leading off, so we're going to move Ruiz up there. And this is the annoying thing right here, is that it's also pushing Denzel Clark way down the order for some reason. So I'm forcing our players who've been performing the best up in our lineup. There's just no reason for Flores to be down there. It's also now this is sliding Geloff down. We're gonna put him at 4th in the order. Again, we're not necessarily trying to, of course, compete here necessarily, but I mean, I just can't have it where we have we've got these veteran players who are doing nothing, just entrenched here at the top of the lineup, and it's burying our young players who are performing. So just for now, we've got Ruiz. Of course, he's got a lot of speed. We're putting him up there at the top, and then we got Denzel Clark and Geloff hitting 3 and 4. Noda hitting 2nd. Noda's still been disappointing. He's 85 WRC plus. Not many homers either. We'd like to see more out of him. Seth Brown, also kind of down there. He's at least hitting for some power, but we'd like to see him, of course, hit a little bit better. Hernandez is also stated kind of around league average. Ruiz is kind of getting cold. Hopefully, we can get him to spark back up at the top of the lineup. Though also Ahmed is kind of improving. Langoliers hasn't hit still. So it's putting Langoliers in the starting role with Perez is gonna mix in at least more frequently than a traditional starter backup role. So we're gonna get Perez mixed in there, and if he is performing better than Langoliers, we're gonna go with performance here. Even Langoliers, he had a good season last year, of course. But with him being at his age 27, of course we've got these young catchers coming up behind. I won't hesitate to make a move. And speaking of the young catchers, we're gonna go ahead and make a move. There we're gonna be calling up Beholin. I hope I'm saying that right because I really am not sure on the pronunciation. We're gonna be sending him up to AAA. He's 25. He hadn't really had much AA experience prior. To this season. Well, actually, it looks like he did in 2023. He was just really bad. Last year some AA experience. This year more AA experience, and he has been good. And because he's 25, we're gonna push him into AAA over Rodriguez. Rodriguez, it's been kind of a tough to manage. We have a lot of these kind of more veteran players who are kind of pseudo catchers. Again, he can catch, and you don't really want him to, but he can also play first. We also have Schwartz here, who you really don't want to catch, but he's just kind of filling on the roster. Rodriguez, he was DHing, which it's important to get him his at bats, but now he's going to be playing catcher every day at the AA level. So we'll be getting him, his at bats and his important catching reps as well. So it's going to allow both of these players to get starting reps, which is definitely what we want. And then quickly, I would like to dig into a bit of prospect stuff, kind of taking the outlook of the guys that are ranked highly in our organization, and just kind of checking in to see how they are doing. Most of note guy here is Jacob Wilson, who had a good season at AA last year. He kind of had that rough start to high A, got it figured out, went back down to single A for a bit. And then, bounced up back up to Double A and had, what I think is, was a fine offensive season. Comes up to Triple A and has also performed pretty well. OPS of, high sevens. He's a player who could see the major leagues for us this year, and I think it's probably pretty likely that he will. He's versatile. He can play second, third, short, and also you can throw him in a corner outfield where he's fine defensively. So he's definitely going to be making his major league debut at some point this season. Whether it's Ahmed, who gets bumped, we just send Lentigo back down. He's going to be getting a role on the big league team, and he should actually, he should see a decent amount of playing time with his positional versatility as well. Our first round pick from last year, Bryson Rainier, the rookie league has started early, and that's something that I need to remember to change ahead of next season. For some reason, the rookie league starts really early in this, so draftees barely even get to play. He didn't even play last year, so that's something I need to make sure I change for next season that I just somehow noticed. He's been pretty good. Always, with these young players that you draft, it can be a bit concerning putting them in the pro ball. Some of the draftees, and I know, I think that's been a problem with this specific iteration of the game is, these draftees with, ratings that are so low, existing ratings that are so low that, a player might have good potential, but their existing ratings are just so low, they can't hack it at the pro ball level when you put them in, and, they get just decimated. Their potential just gets decimated because of, their poor performance, and their just potential just tanks and tanks and tanks until they're just not a prospect anymore. Rodrigo Arias, of course, our young infielder from the Yankees last year, he's kind of probably overmatched at A-ball. He had a good season rookie ball last year, but I want him to try and fight it out a bit. And if not, we'll send him back down. Henry Bolt, he had a really rough start in high A. He actually went down the A ball and performed okay there. So he's someone who's got good power potential. Again, none of these guys, especially down here, are guys I'm too concerned about, except our catchers. We love our young catchers here. Miles Naylor, he just got promoted from rookie ball. Hopefully we can see some good performance from him. Max Muncy, of course, the other Max Muncy. We made sure that he's in Double A here. He started in High A. He is definitely above that level. He performed decently well there last year, so he's going to be bouncing around the infield for us at Double A there. And then of course our catchers, we already talked about Vejolan and Rodriguez. That Rodriguez is now the guy at Double A, and Vejolan is now the guy at Triple A. Pitching wise, Luis Morales, he's having a rough go of it still, which I like to see. He can't get out of A ball 22. Not good for our top pitching prospect. Doughty, of course, who we tried to we improved his performance for tried to improve his control a bit so he would have a better. So he would be able to survive in rookie ball. He's surviving. His potential has absolutely tanked. Very, very unfortunate. Of course, this is always the risk when you take a high school pitcher in this game. Hopefully we can, salvage this and he becomes an impact reliever for us. Is probably the best case scenario. Just want to kind of check on some of our draftees here. Or not our draftees, some of our international guys. See if they might be up to the task to go to the complex, but they are not. Joey Estes is a guy who I've felt pretty good about. He's having a good year in Double A. Wow, it looks like actually he got absolutely rocked at Triple A, so I'm not feeling too good about this. But he made a brief Major League cameo for us, so I thought he was in Triple A still, and that was his Triple A performance. But yeah, as you can see, a lot of we're pretty light on the pitching prospect side. You can see Salinas, JT, Ginn, guys who are kind of heading out of the prospect age are getting rocked. Delgado not ready. Kind of same thing here with Grant Holman. Jack Perkins is actually performing decently well in Double A. Just taking a quick glance at the numbers here. Just our pitching, we don't really have anything pitching wise in the farm system at this point. I would say we're gonna focus on improving that, but obviously in the draft and international amateurs. You should just be taking the best players available. I'm not gonna take a pitcher just because we don't have, like good pitching prospects in the system. And with that said, I think it's going to be time to wrap up this video. The thing about OOTP and kind of my return to the game, at least making videos, is that the timing of like my series is all messed up because of the draft being in July now. Previously obviously it was in June, so usually I'd pop in here. We'd go over like the first 2 months of the season, how everything's looking, and then pop into the draft, and then the next episode would be like a trade deadline episode. I'm not gonna change it, just obviously because I want to keep like the realism, but it is something that is like annoying for at least how I've broke down the episodes. So if you have a better idea of how to break down these episodes, or kind of a way to break down these seasons, definitely let me know in the comments if you would like to see these episodes kind of released a different way. So with that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next episode.